Alright, in this podcast, we'll be discussing David Hume's work called A Treatise of Human Nature and why you guys are such beautiful people. Woohoo! Now, without waiting any longer, let's dive straight into it. David Hume claims that our knowledge is based on experiences. Alright, you need to experience getting kicked in the balls to gain the knowledge that getting hit in the balls hurt, right? So Hume is arguing for empiricism, and empiricism is the theory that human knowledge comes from experiences gathered through our five senses. You get hit in the nuts, your senses become awakened, and you receive mighty fine knowledge. Hume holds an empiricist view because he believes that everything that we believe in is traceable to experience. Hume believes that causes and effects are discoverable not by reason but by experience. Hume makes the argument that each simple idea comes from a simple impression, which means that all of our ideas are derived from experience. Hume is claiming that all ideas come from our sensory impressions, and all of our complex ideas are formed from simple ideas, and these ideas were formed by our sensory impressions. Moving on, David Hume also separates knowledge into categories. These two categories are matters of fact and relations of ideas. So everything certain such as geometry, algebra, and mathematics and these sort of things will fall under the relation of ideas. And relation of ideas are a priori, and they are bonds that are indestructible and created between ideas. All logically true statements such as 5 plus 7 equals 12 and all bachelors are unmarried and I am adopted are relations of ideas. Such ideas are certain by either intuition or demonstration. And if you were to deny such a thing, then that would imply a contradiction, alright? With matters of fact, we are dealing with experiences. For example, the sun is shining. Yesterday I went for a walk in the park. It's raining outside and my next door neighbor is so damn hot. What the hell are matters of fact? The only way you can prove this wrong is if you experience these things yourself and have a look. Hume makes the suggestion that, hey man, look, we know matters of fact about things we cannot observe because of cause and effect. For example, you might have the knowledge that, you might have the knowledge that beautiful girls do not fart because you are dating a beautiful girl that never farted in front of you, which causes that effect for you to think that beautiful women do not fart, right? But how do we know the principle of cause and effect? If, for example, I see a snooker ball that is rolling and approaching another snooker ball, how could I know that the moving snooker ball is going to make the other snooker ball move too once it hits it? Hume claims that this knowledge cannot be a priori. It requires evidence. It requires experience and observation. That is why Hume is saying that our knowledge of cause and effect must be based on experience. So, let's move on from there and have a look at the concept of the microscope and razor. Alright, we're going to look at the microscope and the razor, these concepts, and these are principles, okay, not the actual microscope and razor. I'm not asking you to pull out any tools today, please don't. Anyways, the microscope is a principle that states that in order to understand an idea, we have to break it down into a bunch of simple ideas that make up this whole idea. So let's say, for example, some handsome man is looking at a woman and the man has the idea that he's going to approach her. So we can break down this idea into smaller and more simpler ideas, okay? So maybe he's going to approach her because of the idea that she is looking at him, because she has the idea that he is handsome, because she has the idea that he has big biceps, because she has the idea that she can get a free personal trainer, because she has the idea that she is stingy as hell, because she has the idea that if she saves her money up, then she can attain the idea that she can have a better future, and so on and so forth. Alright? The razor is the principle that if a term cannot be proven to have come from an idea that cannot be broken down into simpler ideas in order to be analyzed, then that term simply has no meaning. What can be asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. I think you guys must have heard of this before, bunch of smarty pants, alright? The causes must be sufficiently able to produce the effect assigned to them. Like, for example, we can easily eliminate causes from our consideration if that assumed cause does not create the effect. Okay, let us make a simple example. Let us say that there is a slight gust of wind, not strong but very weak, so darn weak. So would you say that this gust of wind was the cause of an aeroplane crash? No, right? Because hey, it was a very weak gust of wind. It wouldn't even affect the darn plane. We can cancel out that assumed cause. David Hume uses this razor principle to also argue against abstract concepts within religion and metaphysics. Sure, Hume seems quite hostile towards abstract ideas belonging to metaphysics, but that does not mean that Hume thinks that all abstract ideas are worthless. For example, Hume makes the argument that the mind naturally forms associations between ideas from impressions that are similar in space and time. That is why we are able to imagine or visualize particular events that we have not experienced yet, because we can make associations with those events that we have already experienced. And if you can hear any noise in the background, do forgive me. Someone is shouting out in the streets, but try to stay focused on me, alright? I can't go out and tell these guys to shut the hell up, okay? I'm really sorry, do forgive me. Let's move on. Okay. Hume also has this concept called the fork, and it's a principle that states that truths can be divided into two kinds. And the first kind of truth would deal with relations of ideas. And what sort of relation of ideas? Well, a good example would be mathematics. Oh God, I hate mathematics. I hate the word mathematics. Oh God. But alright, let's say that a square has four sides, which it does. Therefore, it is true and proven and will remain proven. The second kind of truth that the fork deals with is matters of fact. Alright, so those are things that exist in the world. For example, your beautiful face. Okay, that's a matter of fact. Moving on from that, Hume also talks about morals. And he claims that moral judgments come from mental impressions, which means we have emotions attached to particular ideas and not rational distinctions, okay? So, for example, you might attach a positive emotion to the idea that if you had $30 million, you would be in a better place right now, because then you can buy hookers and cocaine without much worry. No, don't do that, alright? Hume also makes the argument that reason is useless in moral arguments because the way things must be cannot be the way things are, right? Morality for Hume is not something that is some matter of fact that has been derived from experience. Hume suggests that we should look at ourselves and put ourselves in the shoes of some horrific act. Let's say that you beat someone up for their lunch money, alright? You're a bully, you beat someone up for their lunch money, and then you will discover that, wait a minute, I'm not rationalizing the reason why beating someone up is wrong, but I'm being a bit emotional about why it's wrong. And you might find that you are being passionate about it. The idea of morality, Hume says, is connected with passions, with sentiment, not with reasons. And yes, reasons can help us explain these feelings, but they can't explain where they came from. That's what Hume says. Also, justice and injustice in regards to these concepts. Hume says that, hey man, these are just artificial virtues. These are just social conventions. And then Hume goes back in time down history lane to explain how these conventions came into existence, and then he uses this analysis to explain why such things like the law, the government, and the sword even exist. Artificial virtues, by the way, are dependent upon social structures, and these would include concepts such as justice, promises, modesty, allegiance. Natural virtues are just concepts that originate in nature, and they're more universal. Natural virtues could be like compassion, generosity, gratitude, friendship, fidelity, charity, equality, frugality, courage, ambition, pride, modesty, patience, cleanliness, good nature, and all these qualities that make you, yes, you, lovely and beautiful and great human beings. That's why you are lovely little bunnies, you cute people, you smarty pants, you handsome man, you splendid woman. You are the apple of my eye, the arrow in my poor heart, and just a wonderful person. All right, please subscribe to me quickly. All right, thank you so much. All right, and also Hume turns his head towards the natural virtues and claims that our notions of such virtues, such as, courage and passion, come from sympathy and innate preferences for what is useful to us and to society. And well, I think we can wrap it up here. I believe I have covered quite a bit of what Hume had to say. I know and I am certain that I have missed out on a lot of stuff because, look, I care about you guys. I care about whoever is listening. So I want to be honest and do the right thing. That's why I'm thinking that you guys should study him further, because whatever I spoke about today is like a drop in the ocean, okay? And this podcast is just like an introduction, a podcast that can give you food for thought, all right? Just a sense, a feel for what he wants to say. And it would be a shame for me to say, hey man, I just told you the whole thing, when people are out there studying philosophers, individual philosophers, for years and years, okay? David Hume is a very complex person, and he should be deeply respected, in my opinion, for all of his works. A fantastic philosopher. I suggest that you all check him out some more. Alrighty, and if you like what you listen to, then please do subscribe, share this video, and please comment down below about your thoughts. I love you guys. Until then, see you soon. See you soon. I love